Welcome to the Buy Box Experts podcast. We bring to light the unique opportunities brands face in today's e-commerce world.
Hey, and welcome to the Buy Box Experts podcast. This is Eric Stopper. Today's episode is brought to you by Buy Box Experts. Buy Box Experts takes ambitious brands and makes them unbeatable. And it is Q4 and Prime Day has passed and everybody's running out of inventory. And so there are lots of reasons to talk to us and some of our partners. Please reach out to us. Go to buyboxexperts.com, click on the free listing analysis button, and you'll be connected with me or a member of my team. We are going to be delighted to talk to you. Today, I am pleased to be joined by Jack Bijou, sales manager at Riverbend Consulting. I've been working with Jack for a few months, and I can tell you that the guy is a hustler and a solid business professional. He's looking to create wealth for him and his company and for all of those that he has partnered with. Buy Box Experts is proud to call Riverbend Consulting a partner. If you've been listening to our podcast for a while, you know that I had Joe Zalta, the owner, one of the co-founders of Riverbend Consulting, on the podcast to talk about their core product. But today we're going to be talking specifically about a new deal that Jack and his team have set up with Editorial Recommendations. So Jack, welcome to the show.
Wow, what an introduction there. Thank you. Honored to be here.
So let's just get right into it. As far as Editorial Recommendations go, I assume that most of our sellers know what they are, but just give us the rundown of how it works and what sellers expect and what is seen on the front end of Amazon in an editorial recommendation.
Yeah, cool. So Editorial Recommendations, a little background of what the program actually is, and then we'll go into where you could find it on Amazon. So I would say a few years ago, Amazon, one of their affiliates, one of their many affiliates that they work with, is a bunch of publishers. Okay, and they gave these publishers, it's about like 200 publishers in the group, and they gave them the access and the control to run with this program. And what it is Amazon allows them to choose listings and brands and write up articles about their product and funnel it through Amazon's system and Amazon's website, which always gets shown on the first page. So Amazon gives these publishers incentives. They're part of the On-Site Associates program, which is labeled where you will see the editorial recommendations. And these publishers, their incentive is to put good product, credible listings and brands, good reviews, healthy ratings, and drive sales that way.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so where you would find it, it's actually pretty simple. Like you said, most of your sellers probably saw this. I know before I joined Riverbend and started the editorial with Joe, I've seen it a bunch of times, and I always wondered, how do I get in the spot? Who's running this and where's the control? So if you just go on Amazon and you type in pretty much any given keyword, at this point, the space is pretty much filled with these articles. So just type in a keyword, and from the first to the fourth row from the top of Amazon's first page, you'll find the section reading Editorial Recommendations. It'll have an article on the left side, a little paragraph, and then it'll showcase 3 listings.
And there's 10 recommendations typically, right? Or is there?
It depends. It depends on the category and the product, and that's all up to the publishers. But the only listings that are actually shown on the first page without having to click another button are 3. So there's the left, the middle, and the right. And then sometimes there's an arrow where you can click and it shows you more. So
I sell earplugs personally as a seller. I sell a bunch of stuff, man. This is the way. And I just did a search for earplugs on Amazon, and this company called EasyVid Wiki from the On-Site Associates program. There's an editorial recommendation, it's 3 rows down, and the 3 people who are in the editorial recommendation suck. I know them. I know this market pretty well, and they are not good. One of them even has like 4.2 stars out of 5. And I know there are better sellers out there. Like just below that, there's a brand called Max that has 14,732 ratings, and they're 4.4 stars. So this begs a couple of different questions. Number one, if I sign up to do an editorial recommendation with Riverbend Consulting, I'm one of the brands that's going to be recommended. Am I going to be number one in that list? Or is that totally up to the publisher to determine the order of the brands that show up in the list?
Great question. So the way it works, and I'll give you a little bit of info of our relationship with them and what we could control and what we can't control. So first of all, a few things. One is the article that you're seeing now, and I guess the products you were referencing that aren't really the best products in that respective category. The publishers consistently put up and choose brands and listings at random, right? Without our involvement, they're still running listings and filling up the space because, as I said before, they have major incentives. You know, Amazon are letting them run with the program, and they're getting commissions on sales that get generated from this spot. So they're constantly putting up random listings, and usually for the most part, they try and get good listings. So you would usually see the top listings in an editorial that are done by them. Obviously, there's some exceptions. Some people just get through the program. But where we come in is we now give sellers control into the program, whereas they never had that control before. It's sort of a black hole. Like you try and reach out to a publisher, or you try and find the publisher, like, okay, can you review my article? Can you review my listing, right? So we're giving sellers that control. And you just basically choose a listing, and we would slot you in. We would have the publishers look at your listing, certain criteria points, and eventually slot you into an article and write up a piece about yourself.
Do I end up in the top 3 if I go through that way?
Yeah. So another interesting thing of what we do with our clients is we don't consider an article successful unless it gets on to one of the 3 main spots. Okay. And we do that to protect our clients where, you know, we're offering them a service, and the service is not complete unless they get one of the 3 spots. So if we would get you into an article and you found yourself on the 5th spot and you had to click 2 arrows to get to your listing, we would do another one and make sure you get on the first 3.
Interesting. Okay, so these guys, I imagine either, sorry if you're listening to this, Earpiece or Etymotic or Earbuddy.
Hope they're not listening.
I'm on your tail, guys. One of these guys was probably because this posted, I guess, February 12th of 2020. How long have you guys been in charge of this program? When did it start with Riverbend?
Anything before August 2020.
Something else.
Yeah, well, wouldn't be included. Wouldn't be one of our clients. But again, even if it is after August, like I said, the publishers, they're not stopping. You know, they're constantly putting in people.
Right. So the publisher makes a commission off of the sales that come to those listings?
Yeah. So if you and anyone who's watching this, if you actually come across an editorial, if you click that button where it says On-Site Associates Program, Amazon takes you to another page and you get to read about the program. And the first line would read, publishers as part of this affiliate program earn affiliate commissions, sales generated from this spot. I don't memorize it, but
yeah, no, that was pretty good. Not bad. Who pays that commission? Does that come from the product sale?
So Amazon pays these publishers the commission, and they show them sales reports of all units that's sold from that article. And it works on a last click attribution. Okay. So they could click in, then click out and find that listing organically. That's not attributed to the article. And something interesting, by the way, which transitions into something that we have, going back to the control that the sellers have that we provide in this program, we created a dashboard. Okay, I might be jumping the gun here, but we created a dashboard with the publishers who have those sales data. And now we give that out to each client. They get their own login and email. They get their own password. They only see their products, so brand, articles, live, ASINs that are in, and then they see transactions, and they get to see sales that are being generated from the program.
So it's pretty easy to track. How long does it run for?
So each article, from the time it's submitted with us, Riverbend, takes about 4 to 6 weeks to go live on Amazon. Once it goes live, an average what we've been seeing is about 2 to 4 months that it stays on Amazon's page. Sometimes closer to 6 months, but it's on variables that we can't really control or the publishers. So the average has been about 2 to 4 months.
If I, let's say that I bring you an earplug company. and they do an editorial recommendation, and then 3 months later, another earplug company wants to come in and also do an editorial recommendation. Will those be different recommendation articles? Would you even take them? Is it like a zero-sum game? If you've already done one for earplugs, you won't do another one for earplugs in the future?
Great question. So the way it works, to answer your last question, pretty simply, there's no, I guess, exclusives to categories. And the simple reason is because the articles that we create are designated to individual keywords. Okay, so part of what our clients are able to suggest for each ASIN they want in the article is 3 keywords that they want the article to index for. Okay, so even if you have a guy selling, let's say, earphones, okay, there's so many keywords in that category that the other client might have taken different keywords, so he would have a totally different article. Now, let's say it happened to be they chose the same keywords. So what happens then, right? Again, pretty simple. They would have 2 different articles between each other, and they would just share the space on Amazon. So if that keyword has 80,000 searches a month,
each one,
right?
40.
So yeah, it wouldn't be, cut down the middle, because again, you're dealing with Amazon, and who the hell knows what goes on in Amazon. But they would get part of the real estate, and the other ASIN would get the other part.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. So just to get this out of the way for everybody who's wondering, how much does it cost with Riverbend to do this?
Magic question. I can't believe it took you this long to ask how much it costs.
Got to build the value first, and then come in with the kill.
So our fees are as follows. We have 2 types of fees. It's broken down. One, there's a sign-up fee. Okay, so it's a one-time setup fee for each ASIN. Okay, just so you know, ASIN is parent ASIN. Okay, so you bring the whole listing with you. So that charge is $2,000, okay, for one ASIN, which only gets charged once the article goes live. Okay, so during that 4 to 6 week time frame, you're not getting charged. Okay, it's once the article goes live and it's a success, at that point you would get charged the sign-up fee. Now, once it's live, you have a monthly fee. Okay, and it's broken down into the greater of $500 or 10% of sales attributed from the article. And that's where the dashboard comes in and we track it together.
I think that makes a lot of sense. So I'm in the business of selling agency services to people. And I think I do a pretty good job of it, but I'd be interested to hear, like, do you ever get like backlash on the upfront investment on something that's technically unproven, right? That's what they would say to me in this case. Like, oh, like, I don't know if it's actually going to work, and I'm one of 10 people. What do you say to those that might be a little bit afraid of the upfront investment?
Yeah. So, we definitely get those, Amazon sellers that are sort of concerned with an upfront fee, and it's something that, is not normal to them. I would say, being in Amazon for about 7 years, I've dealt with PPC and all things sales. So PPC, I guess, is something you could compare to. It's more in everyone's day-to-day. You set a budget, you could turn off the budget, you could see what you're converting on, you could lower spend on this and raise spend on that. So you feel a lot more control. So when it comes to an upfront fee, sometimes there's pushback. And what I would tell you, and I would tell all my clients and everyone listening, take something that right? PPC. Okay, so if you take an ASIN and you just look at what's your daily budget that you're allocating for this ASIN, right? Let's just take an average of $50, okay? Your manual campaign is about $50 budget a day, okay? Take a look at the costs for this editorial, okay? So the $2,000 upfront fee, and just let's say for the next 3 months you're live, you're paying $500 a month, okay? It's a total of $3,500 investment for one ASIN to stay on Amazon's first page for 3 months. Now amortize that fee over 90 days. You'll get to $33.33 a day. Okay, so if I told you go ahead, create a manual campaign for the 3 highest searched keywords in your category, you're on Amazon's first page for 3 months, and just put the budget at $33 a day.
Yeah, you'll get a budget in 60 seconds. Okay.
Exactly. And that's another thing is another benefit, I guess, talking about PPC. There is no budget, right? So you're not running out of budget. You don't have the ability to run out of budget. Whereas if you did on PPC, you lose those sales for that day. You're not competing on keywords. You're getting the keywords you choose for the most part. And you're not at a blind ACOS. Every day your ACOS is fluctuating. Maybe it's 20. This week it was 40. That week it was 5. If you get to the 10% a month, you're at a fixed ACOS at 10% for 3 months on the 3 best keywords in your category on the first page.
So one thing that I'm realizing is if there's a bunch of people, and Bob, thank you for that. Like that, I think that makes a lot of sense for those who are gun shy about spending on Amazon. Sure, spend the money somewhere else. You know, like we'll grow our Amazon products and it will benefit our brand overall. But if let's say that I sign up for an editorial recommendation, and the publisher, who I don't know from Adam, right? They're just random people. They put me and my competitor right next to each other. I'm number 1 and they're number 2. My biggest like thorn in my side. They even like ripped off my name a little bit. They've been doing some copyright infringement. They're incentivizing reviews. I hate them. Yeah. They show up number 2. Since I'm the one that paid for the editorial recommendation to be made, can I remove them? Can I get them out of that editorial recommendation? Because I feel like I'd be building their sales as well. Yeah. I want a percentage of their attributed sales. Dang it! Like I just built their brand and I kept them on the first page. What do you say to that?
Yeah. Okay. So great point. You know, we've actually had a few clients that asked that. You know, basically, I'm bringing myself up, but the 2 guys that the publishers choose next to me, they're getting a free ride, right? So a few points to that. One is the listings that are there, like I said, at random from the publishers, which in this case would be one of your competitors. He could be switched out the next day or the next week. You know, he's not locked in like you are. You know, you're in the program, you're part of the program. We gave you to the publishers. This guy next to you could be in and out the next day. Second point I would say is, let's just say, you know, you pass on the opportunity because of that reason, right? Now you open up your Amazon page in a week and you see that competitor, he's in an article, but you're not next to him, right? So maybe he's getting sales, but you pass on the opportunity.
That's called a monopoly. So basically everyone who's listening, you have to do an editorial recommendation now.
That's it.
It's required.
That's it.
It all seems very just in total transparency, it's hard because like you really do, if the opportunity is available to anybody that comes in, if you're totally agnostic, then you got to get on it quicker than your competitor. And, you know, I mean, like your editorial recommendation is going to end eventually. Somebody else is going to come in and take that same spot. What kind of numbers have you seen from an organic ranking standpoint from using an editorial recommendation? And does being first matter a lot if I can just come later and pay for that spot again?
Right. So you bring up a good point, because one of the main points of success that we've been seeing, aside from obviously newfound sales, because you're just getting another spot on the first page, is the rank drop, right? And a rank drop is an increase in rank. So when your rank drops on the editorial, a few things happen. One, I would call it like it's an organic drop, meaning it's not something superficial where if you were to run, you know, some other type of promotion for a day or for a week, you get a big boost on the rank, but then when it runs out, your rank just goes back up to where it was, and basically you just spent money for no reason. So one of the main points that we've been seeing is when you run an editorial and it stays up for about, let's just say 3 or 4 months, we've seen a client, he was in the clothing category, okay? I'm sure most of these listeners are in that category or are familiar with that category. It's a really big category on Amazon. He was ranked 70,000 in the whole category, okay? Well, forget about his subcategory for now. He was 70,000 in clothing. That's not a great it's not a great ranking. It's okay. You know, he was selling about $18,000 in revenue a month on that listing. It was okay. We got him into the editorial. Fast forward 3 weeks, okay? Not months, 3 weeks. His rank dropped to 6,000, and his sales exceeded 60,000 for those 3 weeks. So it's one of the good case studies we have. We have a bunch of case studies. Anyone who reaches out, we have decks of case studies that we could send, get more familiar with the successes we've been seeing.
And it will maintain. Ooh, what if they run out of inventory?
Good question. What happens is it works synonymously and I guess in conjunction with your organic listing. Okay, so if your organic listing, for example, has 5 child SKUs, okay, and you run out of, let's say, 3 of them, okay, is your rank going to rise? Most probably it will rise, right? Because all of a sudden you're not selling as much because you don't have as much, right? And you're not getting as many clicks because you're not converting on the keywords that you used to. So your rank will rise, right? And how it affects your editorial is you'll stop showing up as often as you did, okay? So if one of your keywords that you provided us, or let's just use that example, men's underwear, and you were converting really well in that article, but all of a sudden your rank went from 6,000 to 30,000 because you ran out of inventory. So you might only show up half the time you were showing up before for that keyword, and that article won't index as much. Now, if you completely run out of inventory, the same way your organic listing just won't exist anymore, it'll translate to the article. You won't be there anymore.
You as the person in the article won't show up, or the article itself won't show up?
No, you specific to your listing, you won't show up anymore.
So if I pay and then I run out of inventory, I still have to pay, and then those other people that are in the article are going to get the promotion?
No, you wouldn't have to. You would stop being charged any fees from when you are. So part of what we do, just to go over our offer real quick, like I said, sign-up fee is only charged once it goes live, okay? Now, you have the right and you have the control at any time the article is running to request for it to be taken down. It's all up to you. If you want it taken down for any reason, like maybe you're running out of inventory and you feel that it's not worth it anymore, we take the article down for you and you don't get charged from that point on, right? Another thing to keep in mind for everyone who's listening, and if you're interested in editorial, if we do an editorial for you, right, and it goes up in 4 weeks, and within the first few weeks, it's clear to both of us that something's off, or maybe you're not generating any sales, or you're not showing up on any keywords, we'll run a brand new article for you at no additional cost. So we're very flexible and very adhering to what you guys need and trying to make it work. Because if it doesn't work for you, we know you're not going to be in it with us for the long run. So we make it work for you.
When the other 9 or 5 or 3 people get included in the editorial recommendation, do they get like an email from Amazon allowing them to accept or reject the opportunity to be in that recommendation? Or is it just totally like they get scooped into it and they all of a sudden one day they're in a recommendation?
That's exactly what happens. And that's the reason why we bring value to these publishers. And we actually built a relationship with them, and we have sort of a partnership with them, is for that reason alone, is because they were never reaching out to these sellers, or letting them know, hey guys, you're about to be an editorial. Why don't you make sure you have inventory? Or do you even want this ASIN in an editorial? Maybe it's a closeout listing and you're losing money on it. Maybe you don't want to promote it. So there's so many things that go into choosing the listing you want in the article and the keywords. So sellers didn't have that control. And that's sort of what we're bringing now. And it's the reason why we even got involved.
Do you guys do any sort of projections when an editorial goes live? Do you look at current revenue and see like, hey, we usually can increase sales by, you went from 70,000 to 6,000 in ranks. That would equal a X% lift in sales. So you need to have this many units of inventory over the next 3 months.
Right. So it's a good point, and probably most, if not all, clients ask for some sort of projection or expectation on sales increase or rank, increase. The answer is this, and it'll always be the same. Every category and every listing is individual to themselves. It's very tough to grade success from one guy and connect it to the next guy that's going to run an editorial. It depends on maybe 100 variables, just how many reviews does he have? What's his rating? Is his brand recognized? What's his rank coming into the program? What is he ranking on the keywords he chose to come into the program? Is he competitive with the market on his price in the category? Is he doing any deals at that point? Is it the time of year for him specifically against someone else? All these things come into play, whether to figure out how much success this guy is going to do in his first run.
I think that begs the question, what are the requirements for an ASIN to be listed in an editorial recommendation? I'm sure you won't take one that has 0 reviews or one that has 2 stars.
Right. So there's two requirements. First one is at least 100 reviews, and the second one is a 4-star rating. Now, 4-star rating is all 4 stars filled. So in reality, the way it translates is a really 3.8 star rating. So 3.8 star rating and at least 100 reviews, you're eligible to, I would say, apply to get into the program. Again, nothing is guaranteed. Our form of a guarantee is in the way we charge, right? We don't charge unless it's a success. So we're not guaranteeing you into the article. We're guaranteeing you a chance. And if it succeeds, then we'll move forward.
Do you consult with the brands on, because I imagine if I have an editorial recommendation and I have a coupon or a deal running at the same time, my click-through and my conversion are probably going to be rock solid, amazing, more than they would be without those things in place. Do you consult with brands on like the positioning of their listing, like the quality of their pictures in the listing, whether they have a video, whether they have a storefront and A+ pages? Do you work with them on those things as well?
So I'll do that on a personal note. When I'm talking to one of my clients, just knowing Amazon and, knowing what helps conversion and click-through rates and how to grab some traffic, I'll give them some pointers, whether it's the keywords that they choose, whether it's, having them send me their PPC search term report and trying to identify keywords that convert well for them, and we could double down on those words for the editorial, whether it's identifying, the search volume for the keywords that they want to run. And sometimes it's as easy as telling them, I know you want to get this listing in, but it's not going to give you the best chance for the article. I'll simply tell people, you can get in, because you have 100 reviews and you have a 3.8 star, but I don't think it's worth it for you to spend the money on this type of listing. It really works best for listings that are doing well, that are ranked, somewhere around the first or second page organically, have a very solid subcategory rank, and are really moving the needle in sales. And it'll take that listing from great to amazing. It's tough to take a listing from dead to a success with this program. It doesn't really work that way.
Okay. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. Well, this is all very interesting. I wondered, are you looking for any specific categories right now, or is it just Wild West?
It's a little mix of both. We're not actively going after certain categories because, again, anyone who wants to be into the program, we'll give them a shot and we'll try. We'll vet out their products and submit it to our partners. There are categories currently to avoid. Okay, some of them include supplements. Any product with a strong health claim attached to it, and there's some other categories that are a little tough, but for the most part, if you fall under those categories, I would still say to reach out, and I would review your products together with you. There are certain times that we can get supplements through. This is an Amazon restriction. Okay, this is not from us or the publishers. Amazon is trying to avoid anything within those categories, but sometimes there are products within those that we can get through. But for the most part, any category besides those is a go.
Okay. Perfect. So supplement companies, pound sand, you got to figure it out some other way. And by the way, if you guys need any help with optimizing listings, please reach out to me and my team at BuyBox Experts. We'll be happy to help you. Jack, how do I send people over to you? What's the best way for them to get a hold of you and your team?
Yeah, so you can leave my information, my email, my phone number. I'll happily give that out. You can go on our website. There's also a page on our website we just recently created. riverbendconsulting.com. Under the account services tab, you'll see Amazon Editorial Recommendations. You can fill out a quick, easy form, and it'll come straight to us, and we'll connect. We'll jump on a call. But yeah, you have my information. You can give it out, no problem, and whatever works.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been a delight.
Eric, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
To finish today's podcast, I want to share some final thoughts. For brands to be successful on Amazon, a critical lever will be launching and managing Amazon advertising campaigns. We at BuyBox Experts are really big fans of the team at Kenshu. This sophisticated software helps brands to manage ad campaigns and gather further data intelligence across Amazon, Google, and Facebook platforms. We're excited that you joined us today. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the BuyBox Experts podcast. Be sure to click subscribe, check us out on the web, and we'll see you next time.